All right, Libra, welcome to your December of 2015 Sidereal Astrology forecast. My name is Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology, very different from mainstream astrology, which you can find more about down below. All right, Libra, so another very transformative month. This month, we've got Mars forming a T-square up to Uranus and Pluto. But mostly just for these first couple weeks in terms of it being transformative. A little bit off and on, though. But as the month progresses, we do have a few nice things. Venus going into your sign, which is actually a very good placement for Venus to be in. We have the Sun going into Sagittarius, and then a full moon in Gemini with Uranus going station direct, and a couple other things. So let's go ahead and look at this, break it down. This is going to be very general for the monthlies. If you want a more specific look, do check your weekly forecast where I go into more detail in terms of these and the other aspects taking place. But here we go. From the 1st to the 5th, we've got Saturn still squaring up to Neptune. All right, so this is coming off of last month, those last 2 weeks of November, where it's been about that uncertainty and doubt about the future, where things are going. So here it's the faith and trust again. It's working steadily towards any long-term structures that we've had in our life for you, maybe specifically relating to the financial stuff, which you might be taking seriously or have been with Saturn in that second house, as well as your self-expression. So those two areas are going to have that, I think, doubt and uncertainty. But by this point, between the 1st to the 5th, it's already gone over its major aspect, which happened at the end of November. So it's pretty much waning at this point, but I do recommend over these next couple months, while it's still within orb, to use it constructively. You know, it's this very important time for you to have that financial security, to build that with Saturn in your second house. And although there's uncertainty with that, continuously expanding on that level, as well as building your self-expression, maybe anything relating to your hobbies, you know, your passions in life, which is also, you know, under that nebulous sort of, you know, phase of, you know, uncertainty, but it can be very constructive through this. All right, so good for creating things, whether it's small business, whether it's spending time with your children, whether it's you know, literally creative, whether it's romantic. The 5th house is pretty much anything that we are passionate about in life. So those first 5 days, constructive when we approach it in that fashion. Then from the 5th to the 8th, that's when we start to get within a 1-degree orb of Mars squaring up to Pluto, which is taking place in your 12th house, Mars. And so here there's perhaps been a lot of drive, a lot of assertiveness, you know, and you really taking care of things so that you can have more rest and relaxation in your life. You know, the 12th house is about having faith and trust. It's been a big emphasis for you for the past 2 years with the North Node here. But now Mars comes through this test, you know, in terms of whenever you're doing, you know, that spiritual thing, that meditative thing, getting that alone time. Here it's all going through a transformation this month, especially from Pluto, which really undercuts the foundations of things so that we can approach it in a more non-attached way. So any attachments that you have to those areas, I think will be important to, as best as you can, be willing to make change. And that's really the emphasis with Pluto, is to make change with anything behind the scenes, anything spiritual, anything unconscious, subconscious for you, which is this 12th house. Now, likewise, you've had Pluto in your 3rd house, so your guys' mind and your communication has been changing over very many years, very much so. And so here, emphasizing that, maybe putting in that, you know, constructive energy to do that as well as changes with your work environment. You know, this has been highly emphasized over the past 3 years with Pluto squaring up to Uranus, you having more freedom when it comes to the daily activities, whatever that might be, usually your work environment, and having things like a routine and stuff so that you can have more freedom in your life. So all these 3 areas in particular, the subconscious, behind the scenes, the conscious and mental, as well as the daily stuff, comes under a test here these first couple days. So keep it, again, unattached, keep it balanced, and I think naturally this can be very constructive. You guys can actually build some pretty good foundations when it comes to getting that alone time, when it comes to the routine and whatever else you might be doing involving communications or your thinking patterns. Now, in the middle of this, quite nice, in fact, Mercury does go into Sagittarius, where it's much more expansive, have that deeper, watery, you know, Ophiuchus energy. So from about the 9th onward, there is plenty to be seen from that overarching perspective, and this is specifically relating to how you speak, how you communicate, the social elements of your life, maybe thinking more about that. And it could be quite busy too with Mercury in the 3rd house. Now, Mercury, you know, likes to be here. It's his house. and there's going to continue to be transformation there, but there's a lot to learn about all of those communicative, social aspects of life with Mercury here. Then specifically from the 9th through the 12th, that's when Mars opposes up to Uranus exact. So for these 3 days, if you're feeling any type of restriction that you're wanting to break free from in the daily stuff, or when it comes to, going with the flow, that relaxation, whatever it might be, it's all about balance, okay? As it's been with a lot of these fast movers opposing up to Uranus these past couple months. But here with Mars, a lot of times we want to make sudden decisions, make rash decisions. So it's important to listen to that freedom, because there's something there. There's definitely change needing, to happen, as there has been over like 5 years in regards to your daily, / work environment. So you can have more freedom there. But at the same time, it's not making anything sudden. It's not going to any extremes with it. And it can be brought in when done in that slow and healthy way, okay? And like I said, as a result of this first couple weeks, could be very transformative, and it's, you coming to a much more solid foundation in those areas. Now, from the 10th through the 11th, Venus does trine up to Neptune, so a little bit of repose there, quite nice. This is, your ruler, so you should be feeling quite easygoing, quite imaginative at that time. Could be, again, romantic. It could be involving any of that creative stuff with Neptune in that 5th house, which is quite good. And then on the 11th, we have a new moon. Now, this new moon is going to be in your 9th house. So this is all about the, 2nd house, which is all about the financial material stuff that Saturn has been structuring, metaphorically speaking, you hopefully structuring those financial matters. So new beginnings with that. And this is both in the short term of the next 2 weeks of this month, but also in the next 6 months once you have a full moon in this area next year. So here it's about new beginnings. It's about sitting with the energies, planting new seeds, and seeing what kind of intentions you want to set so you can have more material security and a stronger foundation when it comes to those material aspects of life. So it could be financial, it could be with assets, it could be with values, it could be with anything natural, such as nature. But I think a great way of working with this too is being very grateful for what you do have in those areas, and then setting those intentions to continuously grow and expand in that area. And I think you'll notice too, as the month progresses, your self-esteem, your confidence levels, and things like that will rise as a result. With these it's essentially new values. You're understanding more about what you value this month. Now on the 16th, very nice, Venus goes into your 1st house. Okay, so at this point there could be the shift where you could be feeling good, looking good. Venus is well placed here, so there's mutual connections, could be stronger emphasis on those one-on-one connections, maybe as a result of the more transformative energies these first couple of weeks of the month. And then on the 19th, Mercury conjoins up to Pluto. And so everything involving those communications, that the thinking, the exchanging, synergizing, the social stuff does transform again. And now this does happen at least once a year. So it's nothing that major like, the Mars squaring stuff, which only happens once, this exact aspect once every 2.5 years. But here with, Mercury, it's being open to changing the way you view things, changing your perspective, changing maybe the daily stuff again. Now, Mercury does rule your 9th house, so your philosophy, your outlook, your life path could be changing around the 19th. So it's all about being open to being guided, especially since Mercury rules your 12th house. It's very much about going with the flow and that kind of thing, and watching the ego getting too involved this month. That's for everybody because Pluto, is the, strips away of everything that isn't for our highest good. And sometimes if we become too attached on a particular thing, then Pluto, metaphorically speaking, will strip it away so that we can understand more about what's real in this life, what's really meaningful. So that'll be another emphasis, not as strong as these first couple weeks, but something to consider there around the 19th. I think being open to change, especially with how you see things, will be the emphasis. Then on the 21st, the sun does go into Sagittarius. So here, more focus in terms of social communicative energy and energy to be gained, prana to be gained through interactions, whether it's reading, writing, communicating, socializing, etc. Then on the 25th, which will be Christmas, for those of us who celebrate Christmas, we have a full moon in Gemini. So this is your life path house. This is your philosophy house. So it's a culmination from over the past 6 months, anything new that you started involving travel, involving philosophy, studies, if it's university or something like that, but all kinds of studies, spiritually, okay, all coming to a culminating point. And you can see it. There's that awareness, right? And so it's illuminating all areas of your chart. It's at the top of the chart nonetheless. So it's kind of shining that light down for everything else. So it's a great time to reflect on your philosophy, reflect on your outlook on life, really seeing what's possible and channeling that into the other areas. Then also on the 25th, Uranus goes station direct. So if there's been, the reflection and things sort of in the back burner involving the routine, the work, the daily stuff, you'll probably notice a lot of that starting to move forward this later part of the month. All right, Libra, so hope you guys have a great one. Thanks for watching. Do stay tuned for this brief message that I'm running a special for between now and the end of December for the holidays. So hope you guys have a good one. See you next time. All right, so it's that time of the year again for the holidays. I'm running a special this year. Get one reading for yourself for 2016 and gift that exact same reading to a friend or family member for the holidays. So whether it's a live phone or Skype session, whether it's a 1-hour recorded reading or a mini birth chart reading, you get that exact same reading you can gift out. So for more information on that, do click the link directly below. And I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday season. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe because I also do daily and weekly videos. And I'll see you all next time. Take care.